welcome back, yet again adventurers, to Let's Play Steins Gate 0. In the last episode, Kagari had arrived at the Future Gadget Lab to meet up with Rintaro, Daru, and of course Mayuri. When she overheard Mayuri singing a song that had once been sung by her mother, her adoptive mother, in the year 2036. Of course, unknown to Kagari at this point, her adoptive mother is none other than Mayuri Shina herself. But wordline changes aside, we have a more, I actually wouldn't say pressing concern. Hold on, just have to turn the microphone off for just a second. There we go. But Kagu wants to know the origin of that song that Mayuri was singing, and in all honesty, Rintaro also wants to know. So they went to Mayuri in order to speak with Mayuri, but Mayuri said that she actually learned the song from none other than Suzuha. So we're all going to go visit her at the Braunchy workshop.
Mayuri-san,
And fortunately, Mayuri's finished her duties over at Mayuri, so she's basically off the clock for today. Mayuri gave a cheerful answer, and then started to fidget, as if she were embarrassed for some reason.
うまく言えないんだけど。かがりさんを見てると、なんかしなきゃっていう気持ちになるのです。
I wonder if that mysterious phenomena of world lines overlapping seems to be taking an effect here, because we've seen such a phenomenon countless times on the Alpha world line. But it seems that somehow, whenever she's in Kagari's presence, Mayuri kind of gets an intuition, possibly of her future self.
守ってあげたいとか、助けてあげたいとか、そういう気持ち。なんでなのかな。不思議だね。えへへ。
And come to think of it, we don't really have an explanation for how and why that phenomenon exists in the first place. But it's similar to, but not entirely like, reading Steiner. Maybe it was the bond between mother and daughter. It was going to be a long time before Mayuri became Kagari's mother, though. Adoptive mother and legal guardian.
それにね、思い出がないのって寂しいと思うから。
I seem to recall Mayuri saying the exact same words on a slightly different world line.
まゆりさん、ありがとうございます。
Kagari seems very appreciative of the fact that Mayuri is going out of her way to help her out.
みんなで頑張ろう。
And so the three of us went back to the lab. more specifically the Born Tube workshop just below the lab. That must mean that she's finished for the day.
おかしいな。出る時にはあったんだが。
Looks like Rintaro noticed it just as I did. And there's Tanuji. Just as we went to peek inside the Born Tube workshop, Tanuji came out to greet us.
Oh, なんか用か?
We're just here for Suzuha.
鈴葉はいませんか? さっきまで店番してたと思うんですが。
ああ、あいつなら今日は上がったぜ。午後から用事があるとかでな。いつになく真面目な顔して出かけていった。
I'm surprised you actually let her off there, Tanuji. Then again, different world line.
聞いてますか?
いや、バイトのプライベートまで詮索するつもりはねえからな。
Even though this is a different world line, he's still the same Yugo Tanuji. By the way, I never brought this up until now, of course, but for those of you who are wondering just what it says on Tanuji's green apron, for those of you who have watched the Funimation dub, it basically reads, "I love CRTs," hence the pink heart there. Which definitely clashes with his yellow Jack Hummer t-shirt and his athletic figure, shall we say. That was all he said before he headed back into the shop. We'll leave him be for now. Well, wherever she's gone, she should still be in Akihabara.
用事って何でしょうね?
Looks like we'll have to find out for ourselves. I hoped it was nothing serious. Well, as far as Tanuji was concerned, it's pretty serious given her behavior. I'll try Ryan. Let's just bring up our smartphone and contact her via Ryan. I think I've got a hint for Kagari's memories. There are some things I want to ask you. Where are you? And it looks like we've got a response. Apparently Suzuha's at Go-Go Curry. I seem to recall that, well, I can't quite recall the exact name for it, but the extra large beef bowl, or whatever it is, I think, she seems to enjoy that a lot. Was she eating a late lunch? Was that important? There's probably another reason why she's there. I don't think it's simply to snack. So it looks like she was in a competition involving the aforementioned beef bowl. Then again, no one else here has her stamina and fortitude.
すっげえ、あの華奢な体のどこにあんな大量のカレーが入るんだよ。
カレーの女神だ。カレーの女神が権限された。
Oh, fantastic. Apparently we have curry otaku. Apparently they have otaku for everything these days.
名前に恥じない殺戮者っぷりだな。あの食いっぷりを見たら本職の殺し屋って言われても信じるね。
Fortunately she's not an assassin, but she's just as skilled as one. We know that from experience. And Suzuha doesn't seem to be enjoying the crowd's adulation there. In fact, I think for someone trying to keep a low profile, you're drawing way too much attention to yourself there, Suzuha Mane. And more audience applause.
すごいですね。
Was this what Suzuha had been up to? The store had said she'd won 3 times in a row, and the customers seemed to know her. Did that mean she was a regular? Suzuha made her way over to us through the cheering crowds. No, just amazed at your proficiency in devouring extra large beef bowls or curries or whatever.
ごめん、さっきは大会の直前だったからそっけない返事しちゃった。すごいね。あんな大皿のカレーをペロリと食べちゃうなんて。
It seems that Suzuha Mane is as serious to food as she is to fighting.
食べられるものは食べられる時に食べる。戦場で生き残るために必要な素養だよ。 戦場?
Seems on this particular world line, Kagari doesn't really remember too much about the rest of her childhood. Well, we already know that since Daru told us about that, but that means she has absolutely no recollection whatsoever of the events of traveling back in time with Suzuha.
私何か聞き間違えたんでしょうか。
In other words, at this very moment, Kagari Shina is an ordinary 22-year-old, currently mentally free of the war-ravaged future of 2036. Although even Suzuha Mane would blanch with fear if she ever stepped into the grim dark future of Warhammer 40k.
気にしない方がいいと思う。
Yeah, compared, which would you rather choose, Suzuha? 2036 or the 41st millennium?
おじさん、それでかがりの記憶の手がかりって？
But enough rambling, back to the present, and yeah, we need to know about that song. I explained what happened so far.
私の歌聞こえてたの？
And Suzuha is understandably upset, not to mention embarrassed.
もう言ってよ、まゆ姉さん。すずさんが歌ってるのすごく可愛かったから教えたらやめちゃうかなと思って黙ってました。
Well, that's Mayushi for you.
意地悪だな。
それでその歌はどこで知ったんだ？
さんだよ。母さんが歌ってたんだ。
So Kagari learned that song from Mayuri, who supposedly learned it from Suzuha, who supposedly learned it from Yuki.
ユキさんが
Which basically means we have to find out how Yuki knows the song.
ユキさん？鈴葉さんのお母様もユキさんとおっしゃるんですか？
Ah, that's right. Kagari doesn't know that Yuki Amane is Suzuha's future mother, and that Suzuha is from the future. We kinda let that slip. Yeah. Oops is probably the grave understatement.
いやそうじゃない。ユキさんのあだ名が母さんなんだ。
That doesn't help, Rintaro.
そうそう、そういうこと。ついあだ名で呼んじゃうんだよ。
That is pretty much the lamest excuse I've ever heard.
そうなんですか。それはどういう由来で？
Yeah, that didn't help. Your misdirection has failed.
その話はまた今度。おじさん、ちょっとこっち来て。
Yeah, that was kind of sort of maybe our fault this time, at least. We let that cat out of the bag. A little too soon, methinks. Suzuha and I stood a little away from Kagari. That doesn't make any sense. That should just be way. Never mind.
よく考えたら、母さんのことは別に隠さなくてもいいんじゃない？
Well, she still doesn't know the truth about Mayuri either,
記憶が
so
戻らない可能性もあるんだから言わない方が賢明だと思うけどな。
and of course, if they don't come back when we tell her the truth, she'll only end up being a bit more confused. More than
そう
anything.
か。私としてはそれは避けたい結末ではあるけど。
In other words, she'll just have to remember when she remembers.
それでその歌をユキさんから教わったっていうのは未来での話だよな。
もちろん。
So basically the same as Mayuri and Kagari then.
母さんが料理を作りながらよく歌ってて自然に覚えたんだ。
So both Mayuri and Yuki knew that song beforehand. I was getting confused, and we're still no closer as to the origin of that song. So what was going on here?
子供の頃のかがりは鈴葉かユキさんからその歌を教わったということか。
それはないよ。かがりがまゆ姉さんの養子になったのは母さんが死んだ後だから。
So Kagari was adopted after Yuki was killed.
私も人前で歌ったことなんてないんだ。かがりに聞かせたこともない。
In other words, the only way Kagari could have known that song was from Mayuri.
あの頃は生きるのに精一杯でそんな心の余裕なんてなかったからね。無意識に口ずさんでるなんて自分でも知らなかったくらいなんだ。かがりがこの歌を子供の頃に覚えたんだったらそれはまゆ姉さんから教わったんだと思うよ。
We probably could have figured out ourselves, even if we didn't have the flashback to sort of give us the answer. Which meant Kagari learned it from Mayuri, who learned it from hearing Suzuha, and Suzuha learned it from Yuki.
なら次はユキさんに当たってみるか。なんだか伝言ゲームめいてきた。
Indeed it is. But even so, if we kept at it, we were sure to learn the truth eventually.
私はタイムマシンの整備もあるし、付き合いそうにないな。
I don't think your assistance will be needed anymore at this point, because you've been helpful so far.
かがりのことよろしくね。
That we will.
あ、
So after Yuki we go.
というわけだ。
I explained to Mayuri and Kagari what I'd learned from Suzuha. Of course, since I couldn't tell them about the future, I skirted around that part of the story.
そっか。じゃあ次はユキさんだね。
It appears to be our next destination on our list.
マユリ、連絡取ってもらっていいか。
わかった。
Yeah, probably seem more natural if Mayuri talks to her. Mayuri took out her phone to call Yuki.
出ないな。
Maybe she's busy cooking.
LINE 送っておくね。
Just sent her a message. Mayuri gave up on calling her and sent her a message on Rhine instead. Maybe she'll
これで
respond then.
OK だよ。
I suppose now
な
all
ん
we
だ
can
か
do is
大
wait.
ごとになってしまってすみません。
I think the world line is laughing at us,
気にし
toying
な
with
くて
our,
いいよ。
our very fates, as it were.
それにね、マユシーはかがりさんとこうしてお散歩できて楽しいのです。
But Mayuri is enjoying herself, so everything's fine.
ありがとう。私もまゆりさんとお話ししながら歩いているとなんだかゆったりした気分になれるんです。
And it seems that Kagari is having fun as well.
ああ、それまゆしーも私たち気が合うのかもしれませんね。
I have to stop doing that. I have to stop skipping ahead and mid-sentence. I get ahead of myself there.
へへ嬉しいな。
If Daru were here, he'd yell Yuri for the win. Come to think about it, Daru had said he had something to do today, and I hadn't seen him since we left the lab. It was probably something I didn't want to know about.
Yuki さんからメッセージ来たよ。
Yeah, I was going to say, that wasn't our phone, because we did get the right message.
実は今橋田さんとデート中だって。
That will explain everything. We probably shouldn't interfere in that regard.
あの二人お付き合いしてるんですか？
デートするほど進展していたとは聞いてないぞ。
Well, I suppose Suzuha will be breathing a sigh of relief, since her existence hangs in the balance. Was that what Daru was up to? No wonder he was so secretive.
ユキさん、夕方にはラボに来るみたい。
I suppose we can let things lie for the time being.
夕方か。時間が少し空くな。
Of course, that's a ways away yet.
でもデートの邪魔しちゃ悪いよ。
I'm with Mayuri on this one.
そうですね。待ちましょう。
And that's 2 votes, well, 3 votes to 1 Rintaro, since I'm counting myself. If Kagari wanted to wait, it wasn't my place to disagree. We decided to have Mayuri answer Yuki's message and then go back to the lab, because if we interfered, we would probably give Suzuha another heart attack. On the way,
お、どうした？
seems that Mayuri has noticed something.
おかり、あそこ。
Mayuri suddenly lowered her voice and quietly pointed towards a nearby cafeteria with outdoor seating. Well, looks like our paths are going to cross regardless. So much for non-interference. 2 people we recognized were sitting at one of the tables. It was Yuki and Daru. The 2 of them were eating a sandwich together.
これはあれだな。とりあえずいつものダルに倣ってこう言っておこう。ダル、リア充爆発しろ。
What? Yeah. That's karma for you, Ataru Hashida. It's a good thing he can't hear us.
どうしましょう。
We should probably make ourselves scarce at this
邪
point.
魔しちゃ悪いよね。
とはいえ、これはなかなか見られない光景じゃないか。
Of course, if we stand here any longer, they might notice.
それは確かに。
Mayuri's eyes were filled with passion. She seemed to be truly cheering them on.
二人が食べ終わるのを待って偶然合流した感じにするか。
Or maybe we could just walk by regardless. And pretend we didn't notice
ハ
them.
ユシーは賛成です。いいと思います。
Kagari and Mayuri were getting excited. Was this really that exciting? We sat at a nearby table in the corner of the terrace so as not to let them see us. We covered our faces as best we could and quietly observed the 2 of them. They seemed to be enjoying their lunch. I could just barely make out what they were saying.
ほらほら、橋田さん、口の端にトマトついてますよ。拭いてあげますね。
いや大丈夫大丈夫。自分で拭くから。
Yeah, Daru is extremely nervous, especially around Yuki.
でもいつもハンカチ持ってないじゃないですか。ほら、こっちに顔向けてください。
I'm surprised they don't have serviettes.
僕の体液がついたら天音氏のハンカチが汚れてしま。
Yeah, you're not doing a very good
汚い
job
な
there,
んて思
Daru.
ったりしませんよ。
僕
ですよ。
何やってるんだあいつは。
仲良さそうで羨ましいな。お似合いですね、あのお二人。
If Kurusu were alive and well here, she'd probably do a spit take and get us all noticed.
そうか。
But as long as we stay out of it,
そうですよ。
I don't get it.
いいなあ、幸せそうだな。
Mayuri was watching them with stars in her eyes. And then... Oh no. Looks like we haven't eaten anything for a while.
お腹空いてるんですか？バイトが終わってからお昼食べようと思ってたから。
なんだ、そうだったのか。
Well, now there's no way that we're not going to get
じゃ
noticed.
あ何か注文するか。ここは俺がおごる。
いいの？
手伝ってくれているお礼だ。
It's the least we can do.
やったー、オカリン太っ腹だね。じゃあね、じゃあね。
Mayuri's eyes shone as she looked at the menu.
クレープ食べたいな。いちごとクリームがいっぱい入ってるの。
Yeah, that sounds very much like a Mayushi meal to me. Evidently the place was offering a special on crepes today.
わかった。かがりは？
私はさっきお昼食べさせてもらいましたから。
Looks like Kagari's not hungry, so that's good.
一緒に食べようよ。
遠慮しなくていいよ。
すみません。じゃあバナナとチョコの。
了
At
解だ。
least she's gonna eat something. I went to buy crepes, being careful not to let Daru and Yuki see me. Looks like we've got our stealth field in full swing. And there's Mayuri and Kagari, happily eating their meals.
すっごくおいしい。感動だよ。
I'm glad they're enjoying it.
チョコレートの苦さが絶妙。いちごもおいしいよ。ほら、かがりさん。あーん。
Probably shouldn't be doing that in a public place, especially with Daru nearby.
あーん。おいしい。何をさせるんですか？照れなくてもいいのに。女の子同士なんだし。それはそうなんですけど。 てるよ。
I think Rintaro is keeping a low profile for a reason.
やだ、マユシーが取ってあげる。大丈夫ですよ、自分で拭けますから。
Kagari hurriedly took a hand mirror and handkerchief out of her pouch and wiped it off.
マユシーが取ってあげたかったな。もうマユリさんたら困ります。どうして？どうしてって、マユリさんに言われるとなんか変な気持ちになっちゃうから。
変な気持ち？
はい。
It could be that she's unconsciously remembering.
なぜかマユリさんにすごく甘えたくなっちゃうんですよね。おかしいな、私の方が年上のはずなのに。
Kagari hasn't yet realized that the young girl sitting in front of her will eventually grow up to be the mother who adopts her in the soon-to-be future. Kagari's cheeks flushed red as she stared up into Mayuri's eyes.
それはかがりさんがマユシーを好きだってことだよね。マユシーもかがりさんのこと大好きだよ。マユリさん、私は。
And of course, Mayuri is completely oblivious to Kagari's discomfort.
ああ、マユリのそれに深い意味はないから気にしないでくれ。
Just consider it Mayushi's natural, sunny disposition.
そうなんですか？ねえねえ、マユシーにも一口ちょうだい。しょうがないな。はい。
I think she already did. Mayuri took a bite of the crepe in Kaguri's hand. To someone else's eyes, it must have looked like two sisters feeding each other crepes. Of course, Mayuri would be the little sister. But it didn't look that way to me. It looked like a little Kagari was blushing and stretching out a hand towards her mother. I really did want to get her memories back. I could only imagine what the future was like after World War III occurred. No matter how bad it got, families still must have gotten together to eat dinner. Maybe this happened in the future too. That would be a very happy...
Huh?
Seems Mayuri noticed that we were sort of staring off into space.
どうしたの？ぼーっとして。
No, we were just
Oh.
thinking.
ああ、悪い。ちょっと考え事をしてた。
オカリンもクレープ食べたくなっちゃったのかな。
I think we're good.
今からでも買ってきたらどうですか？
大丈夫だよ。昼飯はさっき食べたし。
And the crepes looked so sweet that I'd lost my appetite.
そうだ。じゃあマユシーの一口あげるよ。それなら私のも。
Something tells me this isn't going to end well. I suddenly found myself with two smiling girls shoving two crepes into my face.
バカやめろ恥ずかしいだろ
Without even thinking, I tried to move my chair back, only to get it caught on the leg of the table. And our cover has now officially been blown. Yeah. The rest of the cafe watched me as I fell flat onto the ground. I ended up attracting a lot of attention. And as a result...
Okabe-san じゃないですか。
ねえおお、オカリン、なぜここに
Would you believe me if I said we were here to eat crepes? Or crepes. They found us. Well, they probably would have found us anyway if they walked past us. We explained to the two of them how we'd found ourselves here. Well, we didn't want to spoil anything, but unfortunately we did.
ごめんなさい。お邪魔しちゃ悪いかなと思って。
If Suzuha was here, she'd probably burst a blood vessel by
ず
now.
っと見られてたことの方が恥ずかしいですよ。
We didn't really need to tell them that. Daru, desperately trying to ignore the situation. Daru's face was as placid as a sage's. Knowing that we saw him like that must have snapped his mind in half. I certainly think so.
それでユキさんどうかな
Yeah, that's right, we're here about the song.
どこで知ったのか覚えてないか
覚えてますよ。最近のことなので。
So she heard it recently. That's good to hear.
お菓子教室でバイトをしてるんです。講師の先生の補佐役なんですけど。
So apparently she heard it at her cooking class.
ほら、私お菓子作るの好きだから、まだまだ修行中なんですけどね。
So she's still an apprentice, so to speak.
ゆきさんが作るお菓子はものすごく美味しいんだよ。
I can certainly believe that.
そうなんですか？
And even Kagari's overwhelmed.
今度かがりさんも一緒に作ろうね。はい、ぜひ。
Looks like someone's eager to make dessert. I tried to get the conversation back on track.
そのお菓子教室と歌にどんな関係が
ああ、そうそう。教室に通ってる生徒さんの一人が調理の間その歌をいつも口ずさんでて、本人は無意識みたいなんですけど、それを歌ってる時はとても幸せそうな顔をされていて。
So, Yuki heard it from someone else.
私もいつの間にか覚えちゃいました。
Looks like we're going to have to make another trip.
その生徒はユキさんの知り合いなのか例えば俺の知っている人だったりしないか
It's not impossible.
それはないと思います。割とお年を召している女性なので。
We played the game of telephone to this point and ended up with someone who had nothing to do with any of us. Maybe it was a really common song and Kagari had just happened to learn it from hearing someone sing it in the future. No, it was too early to assume
ひとま
that.
ずその生徒さんに話を聞いてみよう。
That's a very good idea.
すまないがその人に連絡を取ってもらえないかな。生徒の個人情報だったら俺たちに教えるわけにもいかないだろうし。
別に構わないですよ。教室といってもそんな大げさなものじゃないですから。
At the very least, Yuki can get in contact
そ
with
の
this
方の携
person.
帯のメアドも聞いてますし、よくお話もしますから。
They appear to be correspondents. Yuki took her phone out of her pouch and started to fiddle with it. She seemed to be looking at a list of addresses.
あったあった。この人です。
She turned the phone towards us. Seeing the name of a person we never met wouldn't do us any good, but we looked anyway.
Eh?
Looks like Rintaro and Mayuri have been caught extremely off guard.
何？その名前。オカリンのお母さんの名前だよ。
So the student in question is none other than Rintaro Okabe's mother. There was no doubt about it. That was my mum's name. That is to say, Rintaro's mum's name. So Yuki learned it from her, of all people. It's certainly an interesting coincidence.
ユキさんってあんたのお友達だったんだ。
And this is actually the first time that we've heard from one of Rintaro's parents. After hearing the shocking news that Kaguri's song traced its roots all the way back to my mum, we went back to the lab. I know it's spelled M-O-M, but that's the American way of saying it. And unfortunately with my accent, it's just going to sound awkward. It would have been embarrassing to call my mum in front of Mayuri and Kagari. So I went up onto the roof in the cold to call her. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to be formal at this point. When I asked my mother if she was going to a cooking class, she seemed to be surprised that I didn't know.
そっか、歌ね。
I wonder where Rintaro's mother heard that
口
song.
ずさんでるなんて全然気づかなかったわ。ちょっと恥ずかしいわね。
That seems to be a trend on this particular world line.
その歌はどこで覚えたんだ？
People end up singing it and they have no idea
ど
why.
こでって？
ラジオで流れてたとか他の人が歌っているのを聞いたとかさ。
Looks like we're not done with our game of telephone just yet.
あんただけど？
え？
And yet another puzzling
あん
coincidence.
たが前に歌ってたのよ。
な、
Yeah, funny that. We don't remember singing that because we didn't. Different world line, Rintaro. Different world line.
そんなわけないだろう。
Apparently on this world line,
ほら、
Rintaro used to
あん
sing
たが
that
中学
song.
生の頃、まゆりちゃんが塞ぎ込んじゃった時期があったでしょ。おばあちゃんが亡くなって。
of course, that much has remained the same.
みんな心配してたけど、まゆりちゃん、ある日を境に元に戻ってくれて、ほんとよかったわ。
Yeah, that would be the day that Ho and Kiyoma took Mayuri Shina hostage.
でも、代わりにあんたがおかしくなっちゃったのよね。
And of course, to everyone else, it was just Rintaro spouting some Chinibiyu nonsense.
なんだっけ？上記のバッドサイレントテスト？
That's insane, mad scientist. But that's part of the black past. Was there anything in the world more terrifying than hearing about your own dark history from your mother?
あんたがそのバッドなんとかにかぶれ始めた頃、お風呂に入るたびに歌ってたのよ。散々聞いてるうちに覚えちゃったわ。
俺が歌っていた？
So basically we have alternate Rintaro to thank for this.
そうよ、覚えてないの？
Yeah, funny thing, we come from a completely different world line where that didn't happen
あ、お客さん来
at
た。
all.
じゃあね、雨が降りそうだから早く帰ってきなさい。
Oh right, Rintaro's parents both run a vegetable shop. So probably the worst day of Rintaro Okabe's life. I think Steinsgate is laughing at us right now. And Kurisu would be as well, possibly. Yeah, suffice to say we kind of hit a bit of a dead end with this whole investigation. There's no point in hiding it. We're going to have to tell them eventually. I explained what I heard from my mother, even though I didn't really understand it myself. That's exactly what we said. Yeah, they were surprised. I was more surprised than anybody. I was so surprised that I was actually feeling pretty calm. Surprisingly.
なるとどういうことなんでしょうか。
It means we've just been going in one big circle. Or maybe it means... What did it mean? It probably means the exact same thing as Steinsgate and Elsai Kongru. It probably means absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. Kagari had learned the song from Mayuri in the future. Mayuri had learned it in the present from Suzuha, but that silhouette didn't look like Mayuri. Well, it was Mayuri, but it was strangely her summer outfit from the Steinsgate visual novel, for some reason. I guess they put it in there deliberately. But we're just going through all the links in the chain. Suzuha had learned it from Yuki in the future. And Yuki had learned it from my mother, who apparently learned it from young Rintaro, it seems. In other words, my mother learned it from me. Surprisingly. So somehow it all leads back to Rintaro. Somehow.
俺、歌なんて歌ってたか？
Honestly, I have no idea at this point. Just gone on one big circuit.
マユシーも覚えてないな。
Funny that, because neither do we. If it were a popular song, maybe I would have hummed it, but it's probably another byproduct of being on an alternate world line.
ダメだ。 思い出せない。
And I don't think we're ever going to remember because we never did it on the world line that we originally came from. In other words, dead end.
手がかりなくなっちゃったね。
Mayuri looked like she was about to cry. Kagari gave her a gentle hug.
落ち着いてください、まゆりさん。岡部さん、そのまゆりさんが落ち込んでいた時っていうのは何か手がかりになりませんか？
No, because Rintaro didn't, never sang when Mayuri was depressed. Instead he started spouting some nonsense about Mayuri being his hostage and never letting her go, ever.
そうは言っても何か特別なことをしていたわけじゃないからな。
Of course, Rintaro is now completely and utterly ashamed of his days as Ho in Kyoma.
マユリが墓参りに行ってるのを迎えに行くくらいで。
That was when Ho in Kyoma, now sealed away, had been born. In order to keep Mayuri from breaking down any further.
じゃあそのお墓に行ってみませんか？
That should
何か
probably...
思い出すかも。
I'm still not sure about that. Was that possible?
ここまで来たなら最後まできちんと確かめてみたいですから。
Well, I suppose it's, a possible destination.
おかり、まゆしーからもお願い。
Well, it's 2 votes to 1. So we don't really have a choice.
わかった。
Yuki is always
行
deciding.
こ
She's the deciding vote.
ありがとうございます。
Don't mention it. The sun was about to set, so we decided to go the next day. But for now, we should probably get some sleep and prepare ourselves for that journey. The next day, the sky had been cloudy since morning. Definitely an appropriate setting for visiting the grave of a deceased family member. But I believe with this ominous pall of doom about to descend down upon our heads like the sword of Damocles, I believe this is a good time to end this episode of Let's Play Steins Gate 0. So when we return, adventurers, we shall head to the grave of Mayuri's grandmother. Although I doubt it will actually help. As always, until next we meet.